or the overlay up and running as fast as possible. As we can see here, David's got some custom painted chips that we were mentioning before. That Captain America shield on the YT 2400.
We got on a tiny mind link list.
Excellent. I always like to hear the words of tiny mind link.
It's Jon Easter's list is a Guri with a tiny mind link, Vigaro, autothrusters, and sensor jammer. And maybe you want to take them through the rest.
So then we've also got Palob with an Atani Mind Link, Auto Blaster Turret, Cloaking Device, and Stygian Particle Accelerator. So that's really trying to make Palob difficult to hit, difficult to deal with, and make him remarkably mobile for a Hawk, which is going to make that Auto Blaster Turret potentially a bit easier to get some use out of. And then a Manaroo loaded out with a Tiny Mind Link, extra munitions, some plasma torpedoes, gonk, and some guidance chips. So there's some decent punch there. Have they made the choice of lists?
Yes, they have. That's the list. So, and David's going for his VCX one.
That simplifies things a great deal
It
from our
does,
point of
yes.
view.
It does. I was very fortunate when they said, "Do you want to know what we're flying?" It's like, "Oh yes, please do tell me." And that's Palob as well, which is nice to see a Hawk. Hawks are really... I like Hawks. They're not very good, but I like them. They're kind of guilty pleasure, almost.
The Scum Hawks have got some very strong pilot abilities, and I think that's why we see them getting a bit more play than the Rebel ones. This isn't to downplay the Rebel pilot abilities, because, I mean, Jan Orz's ability to throw extra attack dice in there, Kyle Katarn's ability to pass focuses off, both really good. But it's not the same kind of, like... debuffing effect that the Scum ones have. And Palob in particular, I think, is the real pick of the Scum Hawk pilots. That ability to take focus tokens, take evade tokens, gives you some strong matchups against gives you some strong counterplay to some of the strong lists around at the moment. Stripping the evade token off defenders, for example, makes them that much more vulnerable to being hit, because they're not going to have auto thrusters. And potentially means that you've then got an evading Hawk that is then that much harder to actually meaningfully hurt.
Fair. I can see that. Very much so. We have got a heavy laser cannon in play, so we've got a 4 dice turret in play. Range 1 blind spot, but we'll see how well that goes.
So this is an Outrider Leebo then.
It's an Outrider Leebo, which it's been a while since we've seen one of those. Especially on the stream. I can't recall the last time we had one on the stream, actually. So it's nice to see old favourites coming back.
I've seen a decent amount of Dash around. As like the Dash Lothal Rebel or the Dash Chopper build have both been doing all right. I mean, we're talking like sort of making top 16 cuts, things like that.
Yeah.
So given the current state of Rebels in the competitive environment, they are definitely one of the stronger Rebel lists that's around. But no, Leebo we just don't see getting much play at all. I'm trying to remember in detail what his pilot ability is.
When you dealt a crit, you draw 2 and you may select which one you'll take. Which, when you have Determination, which is not in play today, means you can select a pilot and just discard it. Very good ability, I think. Very defensive ability. And it kind of is... This is kind of built very offensively. It's very offensive Leebo. I guess because the actual ability itself is quite defensive in nature. So maybe he's keeping that around. I don't know. We'll see how it plays out.
I think this is going to be an interesting matchup to watch as well, because Jon's list doesn't have the really high pilot skill.
He's relying on his dice there, and I don't know whether that's a good thing. He's also got... He's with
Guri, Palob, Kanan, and Leebo. I think those are all pilot skill 5s, aren't they?
They're all 5s. You look at this, we've got all 5s with 1 force, and Manaroo will fire last. However, I believe that there's 100 point to 99, I think. No, it's 100 points, 100 points, so it's going to be a roll-off for initiative. Wow, okay.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, where you've got these like middling pilot skill lists, the initiative bid is often...
Not really worth it.
Yeah. I found that it can be hugely important where you're looking at contracted scouts.
Yeah.
Because what you want to do is make sure you've got the advantage in the mirror match there. But again, when you're talking about pilot skill 5, you've already got the pilot skill advantage over contracted scouts. You've got pilot skill advantage over pretty much all of the generics. So just getting the extra points and the extra upgrades in is normally the right call.
Yeah, I agree. And there's a roll off. I believe that means that David will take the initiative. We'll soon find out when we'll see the placement and everything, I guess.
He's thinking hard.
He definitely is thinking hard. He's quite a shrewd player, David. He knows that he will attack first, but it also means that he maneuvers last. With the barrel roll, you kind of want to give Leebo the chance to reposition if someone does end up in that range 1 blind spot.
I would be inclined to give the initiative to my opponent and make sure that Guri is moving first and can't easily get those range 1 free focuses.
I completely agree. I think that would be a great ability because Guri is probably with the worst matchup against someone like Leebo who doesn't want you to get in range 1 and Guri wants to get in range 1. It's very much competing there, so he does want to have the initiative, whether he chooses to have it or not. And I believe he has taken it because the asteroid was first placed by him. I'm not sure that's a wise move from David, but we shall see how it plays out.
I mean, it might just be that David is hoping to get damage in fast, maybe like land a damaging crit or 2 on Guri, something like that. But
so kill before be killed, essentially. Yeah, it's possible. It is not beyond the realms of possibility. But they are getting set up very quickly there.
There we can see the nice green Athena range 2 ruler.
Yes.
It's the single X-Wing prize I have used the most, those range 1 and range 2 rulers.
They're very handy. I bought a set of new range rulers and I couldn't imagine not having the segmented range rulers. They're just too handy to ignore. Thankfully, because all ships are different, I don't need to have any of those markers on screen now, so that saves that a bit of effort there on my behalf. Not that I don't mind, but
yeah.
Right. So it's David Lincoln versus Jon Easter. Is it Easter?
Jon Easter, you are correct. That's Jon.
There we go. All right. I'll just get the upgrades up on here, then we can begin. Well, I can get the overlay up. Yep, they can still hear us. Good. Jon is on the left, David on the right. As you can see, there's the lovely painted Ant-Man ghost and the Stars and Stripes Leebo. I love that. Captain America's shield design looks very well for that ship. Not a painted ship on Jon's side, but they're still nice ships anyway, and the paint jobs are gorgeous regardless, because, come on, it's X-Wing. Fantasy Flight Games, they know what they're doing.
Very tight grouped deployment there.
Yeah, I don't know whether that's
Jon.
I don't know whether that's a good idea or not.
If he knows what he's doing, he should be alright, but there's not much wiggle room there if he starts having to do anything more complicated than flying forwards.
I don't know whether the mind link will kind of help in this instance. It definitely will help with Guri getting the focus token, I think. But if one gets a stress, they all get a stress, and that's the big disadvantage, I think.
There's at least the advantage that since Guri is the one who's likely to want to turn around the most, she can potentially go last in terms of activation.
Yeah, there is that. Yeah, I agree with that. I can see Manaroo's got to move first. Between Palob and Guri, I do think Guri would be the one that wants to move last. And Guri's going to have a chance to get into range 1 because she's got that barrel roll she can use. So I think it's actually advantage to Jon in the first, even before they even made their first movements.
I'm very much inclined to agree. If I was David, I would be looking at trying to keep my distance as much as I feasibly could with Leebo, and just trying to make sure that if anyone's going to go in there and engage Guri at close range, it's going to be Kanan.
There we go. First movement there from the Ghost. Quite a slow roll. That's a 2 forward, I believe, from there. There's Recon Specialist popping, so he takes a focus, gets 2 focus results. That's going to pair very well with Kanan Jarrus' ability. Kanan Jarrus may spend a focus token when another ship when any ship at range 1 to 2 is attacking. That's usually an enemy ship, I believe. To lower their attack value by 1, which is really effective, especially on Palob. He's got that auto blaster turret, which is 2 dice attack, I believe. You don't want to have any damage coming from that. If you minimize it to 1, you can't evade it, but at least it's 1 you won't get.
The auto blaster turret is definitely more of a danger to
Leebo.
Leebo.
There's no danger to Kanan himself. It might as well.
Kanan massively prefers being shot at with an auto blaster turret than basically any of the
Any
alternatives.
alternatives, because it's less dice. Actually, no. In this instance, it's better that he used the primary because of the one. So,
oh, the poor hawk.
The poor hawk. The one mistake that FG admit that they made when they decided.
Yeah, I thought it was very interesting seeing the designers being like, I don't think it would have broken in anything in the game to give the hawk a 2 dice attack.
That's the thing. Might we see a title in the future or an upgrade which gives the hawk an extra dice? Just something.
I would be very interested to see another title for the hawk because it gives you competition for the Mouldy Crow.
Yes.
And I think it's good to not have single obvious choices.
Yes.
I think that is possibly one of the places where we're seeing I wouldn't say limited design space, but with the modifications, if you've got boost, you put auto thrusters on your ship almost universally.
It's become a go-to thing where you must do that. There's no question.
So I'd really like to see a 2-point modification that competed with auto thrusters in some fashion. But obviously with modifications, you've got to be really careful about introducing them to the game because they apply to such a broad range of ships.
Yeah, you've got to balance every single one to every single ship. Hello, Chelsea. Nice to see you join us for the chat.
Hello.
I believe she's actually got to buy this round because unfortunately she's not been doing too well in the tournament, bless her. But welcome. Thank you for joining us on stream.
Glad you've decided to watch.
Yeah. At least get some worth of entertainment out of this. Then again, her other half is indeed on the stream. Wouldn't be surprised if there's a bit of schadenfreude there. Enjoying someone else's pain. Oh well. Let's see how well this match goes. And there's Manaroo turning in there. It's not often you see Manaroo being used. I actually see the others being used more than Manaroo.
I think it's received a bit of a kind of like pick up in usage because of the Dengaroo build.
Yeah.
But I think she's got so much potential outside of that. I think she is potentially a very valuable support ship alongside things like the Protectorate Starfighter. If only because it then allows the Protectorate to boost itself into the range one that it wants to get.
Yeah.
And then still have some mods in place.
Yeah. That's a barrel roll, so he's obviously trying to keep Guri at arm's length here, which is interesting. Maybe not one... That's the thing, there's not an obvious route here through the asteroid field. There's no way the Ghost can bank through that asteroid field. It's too tight, and it's too spread out. There's no way. The Ghost has got to go around. So I think that's actually a disadvantage. I think Jon should have used that to his advantage. Go into the asteroid field, kind of make the Ghost and Leebo play keep away, although Leebo really wants to play keep away.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why he wants to kind of keep distance and then go in balls.
What turret have we got on Kanan?
Kanan's got a dorsal.
Dorsal, interesting. Okay, so Guri in that case really does want to close with the Ghost. Try and get in between, like into the side or into the rear. Not worry about taking shots from that primary arc, because the dorsal turret's something that you can reasonably easily deal with. What if we? Is it a sensor jammer on Guri?
Yeah.
It's quite easy for Guri to tank a lot of the shots from the Ghost, and going through the asteroid and debris field there, it's a very mobile ship.
All right. There we go. So, all the ships have moved. They're now removing the tokens because they're now in the end phase, and we begin anew. Ghost is in a very interesting position here. I'm not sure what exactly David's trying to do. I think he's trying to bring Leebo up because they want to keep away from Leebo, but Leebo's trying to come for a heading collision, so they want to go around Leebo. But then if you get in range of one of the ghosts of Leebo, they got the Ghost to contend with. That's quite a smart move there, especially since he can decide which order they move in. Because they're both part skill 5. He can decide if he wants to move Kanan before Leebo and vice versa. So it's quite... I like that. I do really like that. I think it's a nice little convoy going on. It does make you ultra predictable, but we'll see how it goes.
I think Leebo as well needs to be flown very differently to Dash, because you don't have that speed and manoeuvrability and freedom to crash through the obstacles, which does change how the ship functions on a fairly fundamental level.
Oh yes. And here we go, we've got the overlay up. We've just come up to an hour left on the actual match itself, starting from deployment, of course. And, yes. Dude, get this down. There's a 3 bank from Manaroo. Keeping it sweep. I'm heading to an asteroid. I would barrel roll. Then there's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to go.
She's a bit too tight. Fortunately, the Jumpmaster does have 1 hard turns, so navigating through that asteroid field is not too difficult.
The difficulty is the direction. That's the key thing. If you look at the Jumpmaster's dial, its left is a 1 green. It can go left, and it's probably best thing to do is go left. Its right is a viable option, but he's heading away from the engagement zone. Oh, he's opting to barrel. I don't think that's the best option. He may actually end up in a worse position at this point.
That barrel back might not be too bad, because it gives a little bit more room before you've got to engage.
He's got to do a 2 to get past it. He's got to worry about the debris field past there, though. That is the only concern. We'll see how it all plays out. And here comes Leebo. Slow roll it forward. Nothing too complex. Keeping it simple. Come for me. You've got to engage. There's nothing stopping me from just sitting here. And Guri wants to get in range 1, as we all know.
Yeah.
Which kind of is going to work to David's advantage here. Even if Guri gets within range 1, the Ghost is going to be pulling up right behind Leebo, and it's got a nice 5 dice primary weapon value of range 1 to deal with. So that's not a bad maneuver, I think, from David.
I think what Jon wants to do here is go forwards as slowly as possible with Guri this turn. Keep your distance, try and stay just outside of the range of that heavy laser cannon, and then close in as rapidly as you can the following turn.
Keep it slow, then as soon as it gets into range, jump right in.
3 forward from the Hawk here. I'm expecting to see it probably cloak up at this point as well.
Yeah,
give itself a defensive buff.
That cloaking device, we'll see how long it lasts. Generally, they tend to not last long when they're attached to a Hawk 290.
It's true, they do fall off as soon as you look at them.
Yeah, there we go. And there's an evade token as well. Why is there an evade token?
What's there an evade token?
Yeah, you don't
get... Hawk can't evade.
Hawk can't evade? How are you getting that evade token? Cloaking device.
Also, they're all mind linked, so if that has... no, if it was an evade token, it wouldn't cascade through the mind link. But I'm still... it's the Stygian Particle Accelerator.
Yes, you're right. You are indeed correct. There's a focus, because Guri gets to focus, so they all get a focus. Way, token sharing. That all works out well until one of them wants to actually do a red maneuver, and then they all want to do a red maneuver, and then it
then the focus gets passed across from Manaroo to Palob.
That's a nice kind of pseudo Hawk thing they're going there.
Interesting.
He's trying to utilise the cloaking device to keep that token denial along for so much longer. Palob can strip a token for anyone at range 1 to 3, isn't it?
1 to 2.
1 to 2.
So you do need to get in close.
So this is actually a very bad matchup against Kanan, because Kanan wants to keep the no engagement. That's completely out of range there. That looks to be in range for me.
3.
Yeah. So unfortunately, it looks like that we're going to get a heavy laser cannon shot. Boom, boom.
Palob is at least in a reasonable situation. 2 focus tokens, the evade, 4 dice from the...
3, range 3 as well. No range bonus because of heavy laser cannon. But look at that. That's a 4 hits. He's got to roll perfectly with focus and an evade. He's got a good chance of evading it all, but we all know how bad the dice can be sometimes. That was
no range modification as well from the heavy laser cannon. So 2, 3, it's still going to be a point of damage going through a best case scenario.
I thought it was you had 2, so it's...
Oh, you had 2, of course, yes.
Yeah, so it's...
I'm terribly sorry.
Yeah, so it's a 4 versus 4. It favours the attack, but the evade token kind of shifts that towards defence a little bit. He has got that of token to fall back on, but then that's it. And if only David could have just gotten the Ghost just a tiny bit forward, he could have had another attack from Kanan. That's more blanks than you would care to roll. There's 2 evades.
I think that's 2 evades. That is going to be 2 damage going through onto Palob. That's not the opening Jon really wanted there. The cloaking device, not 100%.
Yeah, completely. There was no focus results. There was nothing to modify in that exchange. It was really poor dice roll. Are we going to
see a 1 dice shot from the Hawk here? Go on. Yes, there we go.
There we go. So is it with a prime weapon value of 1? As a hit, it's 1 hit. That's might as well. Come on, as a hit. Come on, it's got to do something.
I think that was the roll to see if the cloaking device dropped off.
Alright.
Oh, of course, it's cloaked. No shots from the hawk.
Yes, of course. Yeah, me too. Me too. Okay. Right. Okay. I'm quickly needed. I'll leave you in the capable hands of Robin for a few minutes.
Right. So, that opening exchange definitely in David's favour. Getting some damage through on Palob is thoroughly worthwhile because he doesn't want Palob sticking around and hoovering up tokens off his ships. It's particularly bad news for Kanan because Kanan really wants to hang on to as many of those focus tokens as he feasibly can to make sure that the attacks that are coming through don't do too much damage. Jon's got a slightly awkward angle of approach here. It's going to be very difficult for him to escape the front arc of the VCX coming in. Kanan's 4 dice primary weapon attack can punch through and do a lot of damage. Palob decloak 2 forward and cloak. I could see that. Yeah, just get in the middle there, make yourself a nuisance, and then buff yourself up as much as you can. The only downside I can see there is that is potentially leaving Guri quite vulnerable. And with only 1 shield and 4 hull, that's a lot of damage to potentially soak through. I think it's going to be difficult for Guri to escape the arc of the ghost. But if she can get into range 1 of Leebo, not take that heavy laser cannon shot, then that's all to the good. So we'll see how this goes. Okay, so that's the cloak token coming off. 2 forwards. Well predicted there. And the evade from decloaking. Manaroo turning in. So Manaroo is very much being kept clear of the engagement. I think that's probably a reasonable call, but it does mean that effectively Jon's fighting this opening exchange with just 2 ships. It'll be interesting to see if we've got arc and range for those torpedoes to come in. Particularly worth noting that since Manaroo doesn't have Deadeye, there's the Atani mind link there. We're going to need to wait until Manaroo can get that target lock. And I think that's going to have to be a wait until next turn. But if she can get in and lay in some heavy damage, that does help to tilt things back into Jon's favour at that point. And then a gentle one bank in from David there, giving him probably a clear-cut range 1 shot there onto Palob. I think Palob might be in trouble unless he manages to get out of arc. But of course, get to move, so entirely plausible. Okay, so that 1 bank round. This is the one downside of the Ghost. I love the model. I think it's fantastic. But just the sheer size of it means that top-down streaming, it's really difficult to see where the boundaries of the base are. I think it's reasonably safe to assume that Palob's got out of arc there, but I wouldn't want to put money on it from this perspective. I think there's a bit of thought going in here. Jon's probably debating about whether to cloak up and give that defensive boost to the Hawk, or go for a slightly more aggressive move, bring the dorsal turret into play.
Yeah, run scarce through there.
I'm really not certain what the hesitation is. It does seem like Jon might be thinking about a target lock there, but I'm not certain.
Hello, sorry about that. I'm back. What did I miss?
We've had the Hawk decloak and move into potentially good position, but it's difficult to tell if it's quite out of arc.
Don't forget, it's got auto blast turret.
It does have the auto blaster turret, which is nice and handy. I'm more concerned about where Kanan's
Oh,
and
I believe Kanan is out of Kanan's arc. I think it's managed to just evade it there. Very great
target lock, which is a brave choice. I think with that, I would probably have gone for the cloak and not gone for the shot. But we shall see. That's Guri going forwards a little bit more slowly than probably wanted.
She wants to get within range 1 and she's not there yet. And even with a barrel roll, she can't get into range 1, I don't think.
A boost round. Oh no,
he's declared a barrel roll at this point. He can't change it.
I guess the template wasn't actually. There we go. That's the move I probably would have gone for. I think that boost round gets you range 1 onto Leebo. It maybe saves you from the arc there.
Eagle just has a very good point that Kanan does have dorsal turret, so he can fire 360, and you do get range 1 bonus, so you get 3 dice. That's still enough to kill Palob if Palob rolls badly.
Absolutely, and that's why I was a bit surprised by the target lock there rather than the cloak. Like just try and keep Palob on the board. Use Palob as like a pain, something to debuff people with. Because if you're taking that range 2 shot from Kanan to Guri at that point, Guri can happily deal with that. Sense jammer, auto thrusters. You're not leaving your opponent with a good target.
That's a mistake. Looks like he was trying to take. Pale looks like he's going to take the focus from Leebo. I would take it from Kanan because Kanan can lower your attack dice.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there we go. So that's a mistake.
Yeah.
And look at all those focus on Palob. Okay, maybe it's quite possible nothing can get shoved through onto Palob. Palob is just being really annoying at this point.
Yeah.
It's a really obnoxious lift. I kind of really dislike it.
I don't know. I've got a lot of time for lists that go for this kind of anti-synergy to your opponent, but
well, you want to focus in there, man. You got 2 focus results. You got 1 focus result. You want to spend it to get the attack through, if possible.
And it still leaves him with a focus to then degrade. This is why he probably should have gone for the focus token off of Kanan, because then Kanan would have had a really tough choice.
He's got a focus. He's going to spend that to evade and nothing. He spent a focus, which is meaningless at this point.
Yeah.
This is where Tiny Mind Link is actually becoming very useful for the other list. He's using he's deciding his actions appropriately for each ship so that they get the benefit of all the actions across all of them. If they all focus, they'll get 3 focus essentially.
Yeah.
Which is very nice.
Well,
very
with
nice.
the Tiny Mind Link, you
can't already have a token.
You can already have. You only get the benefits of a Tiny Mind Link if you don't already have a token of that type. But I think that's why we're seeing Manaroo doing the focusing, and then everyone else being free to focus up as they need to. So that's 4 dice. That must be from Guri.
Yeah.
Interesting. David didn't degrade that attack.
He probably wants to keep. I don't know why he wouldn't want to degrade the attack. Only one gets pushed through onto Leebo though, so that's something.
I guess he might be trying to degrade the auto blaster turret and stop the unavoidable damage.
Yeah. That's probably what he wants to try and stop. Because if Kale fires at... Yep, he's using Kanan Jarrus now.
Kanan Jarrus.
So this is where I think the Auto Blaster comes into play. Or he could be using it for the plasmas. No, he can't use it. He's out of range, the plasmas.
Doesn't have the target lock either.
Yeah, so... So he's only got 1 for the Auto Blaster here. 1 hit. And...
So that'll be a point of damage.
Sensor Jammer! He's forcing the spending of the focus.
So that's going through onto the
ghost.
The
ghost. What? No, it's on Leebo because look, he's removed a shield from Leebo. So Leebo's down to 3.
Leebo doesn't have a sensor jammer.
Leebo. That is correct. You are correct. I am going to go and quickly. I'm going to quickly go and have a word about that.
It's looking like Manaroo isn't in a position to have a shot. No, we've got Manaroo. I think this is going to be a range 3 obstructed shot onto the Ghost. What's that? 2 hits. And a little bit of discussion, I think, here about something. There we go. I think that's the sensor jammer just being sorted out. And I think that was possibly an evade result from the Ghost. It is difficult to tell.
People make mistakes. It is the third round. It's the point where people are starting to get tired. They're starting to kind of get confused and mix triggers.
So I think that might be a point of damage 3. Yes, that is a shield off Kanan as well from a long range shot from Manaroo there.
Wow, that was quite a Hail Mary shot there.
It's the price you pay for that 0 agility.
Yeah, anything can affect you, really. Excuse me. Get some sustenance down my throat.
Okay, so dials being set down for the next round. What are we expecting here? My money is on Manaroo trying to bank into a position where she can set up a target lock on the Ghost and see if she can get some torpedoes away. But
Guri's... sorry, Karen.
Given how far the Ghost can potentially move, there's no guarantee that it won't then get itself inside range 1 and deny her the shot.
Yeah.
Maybe she might try for a torpedo against Leebo instead, but that's going to be probably pushing the limits of where she can manage to get a target lock to.
Yeah. So yeah, it did turn out that they did shoot at Leebo, and unfortunately David got mixed up. That's why that happened. So everything is as it should be. They were put back the focus, even though it didn't matter in the end. Jon's done great with moving Guri into a position where she is blocking Leebo's maneuver, and Leebo moves before Guri. So that is going to come into a big equation here, because he's got to get past Guri or move next to Guri, and that's going to require some really ace positioning. But even then, you're in range 1. Guri can very easily get back into the range 1 bonus, and because Palob's there.
I think Guri might take the risk on an S-loop here. Bring that firing arc back round. It's going to stress everything out, but this isn't the worst time for that to happen from Jon's point of view.
Yeah.
His ships are in a position where they can start moving themselves around and taking those green manoeuvres if they need to.
Yeah. Okay, so we all know that probably we're going to see Guri do maybe a 1 hard turn, I think. A 2 turn from Palob, which is a red, but if he moves last, they'll all get focused.
The 2 turn on the Hawk is a white.
Oh yes, of course.
Fortunately.
Thank goodness.
It's the only small mercy in that pile.
Yeah, for a very nimble ship, and it's described as being very nimble in, this is the thing where it's gameplay mechanics over fluff. The Hawk is very maneuverable in the actual universe, but in the game it's a support ship, and it kind of needs to have its vulnerabilities, so it needs to fly like that. It's not canon, and it probably will never happen because of that. I would have loved them to have done the Raven's Claw, which is the upgrade from the Hawk 290. That would be. I would love to have seen like an ultra maneuverable support ship.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see what the U-wing brings to the table on that front, because it's whilst I don't think it's going to be described as ultra maneuverable, that ability to do a 0k turn is a real It's going to be something that is very confusing to your opponent. I think
it's like, wait, what? You just say where you are in 10 rounds. Which I know people are using it as an argument for the old S-foils argument, like,
target lock going across here. Yeah, I think we're going to see some torpedoes here, which also means we're not going to see Manaroo passing any tokens. Which is going to make things a bit more vulnerable. So Jon really doesn't want to bump at this point in time, and that possibly reduces the chance of seeing that S-loop from Guri. Maybe not, but
here's the Ghost getting quite squarely within range 1 of Manaroo. So if there is a denial caused by Leebo for whatever reason, there's still a good shot going between Manaroo and the Ghost there, and the Ghost can take whatever is dished out at it. But the Ghost, conversely, also has a 3 dice attack against Leebo. Manaroo. So That's going to be interesting to see. And no, why did you do that?
Hard one turn. I don't know. Maybe he's deliberately going for the bump, trying to keep the distance, and then just relying on Kanan to degrade the attack that's going to be coming in from those plasmas. It may just be as well that David's forgotten about those plasma torpedoes being there, because it's not a hugely standard part of a Manaroo build.
That's really harsh. I think Eagle Size right a 3 hard probably from Leebo would have probably cleared him of Guri, and it would have meant that he could then barrel roll to get distance closer to Manaroo, and maybe even just barely scratch range 1. Unlikely, but possible.
Of course, though, that then potentially runs the risk of leaving you at range 1 of all of Jon's ships.
Yeah, that is true.
And no shots at all. And that heavy laser cannon really does need to be doing work. Interesting. What's that?
That looks like
a 3 forward.
I don't know. Maybe it's a K turn. I'm pretty sure there is at least one K turn on that dial. No, it's only S loops.
That is a 3
so
forward.
3 forward. Probably just barely still within range 1 as well. That is actually quite. I think it's range 1. Yeah.
I think what's happened here is Jon was worried about the potential for bumping, and it has chosen a safe manoeuvre for Guri to make sure that focus can get cascaded out through the mind link.
It does mean, however, that Guri's out of the match, and here comes Palob, who is crashing into Leebo, meaning his attack will be focused on Kanan, who is out of the turret range of Palob, meaning he's going to be requiring his prime weapon attack, which, if he even's got arc for it.
I don't think there's going to be arc, no.
No, so, yeah, there's going to be no shots from Palob, and Palob's just going to be annoying and removing tokens.
David's definitely going to be getting the better of this exchange, I think.
I don't know, because Kanan's the only one with focus, so that's the one that Palob will naturally steal from. That'll leave only one focus to modify or remove dice from. There's a range 1 bonus. Yeah, sorry, unfortunately that's range 1.
And that's why I was expecting the S loop, because there was a decent chance of Guri staying at range 1, and then you can still cascade that focus token out through a tiny mind link. It doesn't matter how you get it.
Yeah. Yeah. See, the thing is, this is a great list for most other builds. There's one ship that would completely ruin. There's 2 ships actually that will completely ruin this list today. Carnal Jax.
Yes.
And of course, we can't forget our favourite protectorates of the day, Alterok, who removes all focus and evade tokens. So, as well as Palob has been going, coming against that protectorate, he's done for. Get in range 1, boom. Especially since he wants to get in range 1 because of the Auto Blaster, which will cripple the protectorates. But if they can down Palob in 1 round, which is possible,
very doable with the protectorates if they can get in arc.
Predator activates. Here's a reroll. Look at that.
So 4 dice. That's presumably the heavy laser cannon going across onto
Manaroo. Ouch. So Manaroo's going to take some damage at this point. They're checking wording here.
I think it's just David explaining why the crit got rolled down.
Yeah.
Although that might have been the Predator dice, and that might be a Predator dice that's come up a crit.
Yeah, the Predator dice come up a crit. It means that you don't turn it down because it is a modification. If they need to get it ruled, I can adjudicate that, and it's quite clearly you've rolled it. It's not part of the original roll. Therefore, it actually still stays that way. It doesn't say when you're resolving you turn it face down, or you turn them down to hits. Yeah.
Here comes the query.
Here comes the crew. Hello. Is there a question?
So, this looks like it's going to be quite a strong, hefty attack coming through from Leebo. This is going to be a problem for Manaroo with only 2 agility, no range modifiers. The best you can do is drop that down by 2. But next turn, she might not be taking too much fire. A lot of it's going to come down to what happens with Kanan shot as well, as if we see a lot of damage come through from that dorsal turret shot. I think that is definitely going to be a problem. So we have got I think that's 2 evades. Was that 1 damage going through? 2 damage going through? I think that's 2 damage gone through there.
Yes, the wording on heavy laser cannon says immediately, and once you're modifying, you're no longer immediately rolling dice. So, yes.
I think we might have seen 2 damage go through onto Manaroo there.
Let me double check that. Yes, I believe that's quite true. So that's 2 damage. So that's 2 shields stripped off Manaroo. David's not. He's not got power. He can't do enough, Captain. He's just completely. He's not doing enough damage over time. He needs to start doing hits.
Dorsal turret shot across onto Palob there. Do you spend that to focus? No, you're keeping the focus.
I would have gone to Manaroo personally.
Yeah, take that range 1 shot. But I think he's trying to get Palob off the board.
Yeah.
I think that ability to strip focus tokens is concerning David because it's very heavily downgrading Kanan's ability to control the strength of the attacks.
True. However, I do think the range one would have been better. It's closer. You get an extra dice, potentially more damage. I know Palob is a concern, but once you're making decisions based on your opponent, the opponent is dictating the course of the game, and that's never a stage you want to be in.
Absolutely. So I think we're going to see a 3 dice plasma torpedo shot here.
All right, here we go. Ding, 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 ding. All right. So there's a plasma torpedoes from Manaroo onto Leebo, and this is where Leebo could really get some damage.
How's Manaroo spent her focus token? I think that might be a moot point.
That's crit. Ouch. Ouch. Ow. Oh boy. That's a 1 evade, so that's not... That's all shields.
Leebo shields, yep.
That's all Leebo shields down, but there's still some hole that needs chewing through. Another rules question.
Table 12.
So, start of the next round. I think Jon got the better of that exchange there. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what Jon does with his ships here. I don't think David's got the possibility for the 5k with the ghost there, and I don't think he really wants to leave Kanan without an action either, because he's quite reliant on keeping that steady stream of focus tokens coming in to keep chipping away at the damage he's having to receive. I'm expecting to see Guri trying to turn around as quickly as possible and get back into the fight. That 3 forward was not a manoeuvre, I think.
Yes,
was a good choice there.
It also means that she's heading away from the engagement. She's most definitely not going to be in range 1 of anything next round. She's not going to get the benefit of her ability. She risks getting hit by the heavy laser cannon that Leebo's touting, which, given the fact that Manaroo could block with a 2 bank there and block the 1 turn, which would deny tokens, which I think that's what David will try and do. The 1 turn to catch Guri at range.
Yeah, at range and potentially in arc as well. Because if you can switch those auto thrusters off, that really helps. Jon does seem a bit concerned about where he's actually going to go with Manaroo there, though.
Yes, he has to pass Kanan. So he has to do at least a 3. That highly restricts his dial. He can't do a 1.
I think. Okay, there we go. Is that the 2? Is that a 2 bank in?
Maybe he signals. He's bumping.
He's deliberately bumping.
Staying where he is. He thinks he's in a good position here.
That's an interesting choice.
He still has the plasma torp, so that we can't use him now because he's no longer got a target lock.
Yeah, 2 turn. That seems reasonable.
And this means he's going to get another range 1 shot on Manaroo if he chooses to take it, and I would take it. I wouldn't.
One of the problems I think David's got here is it's very hard for you to justify to yourself K-turning with the ghost. But the ghost's K-turn, that long 5 K-turn, is a really good way of clearing an engagement and then getting back into a fight.
Especially since you can then bring the strongest point of the VCX to bear, which is the 4 dice primary.
Yeah.
And there's a 3. Wow, and that looks like a range 1 of of Manaroo there. Ouch! That's actually not a bad bumping position for Jon to be in there.
I think Leebo's going to have an exciting turn this turn.
Yeah.
I'm assuming we're going to see the recon specialist kick in here for the.
Yeah, of course. 2 evades. Sorry, 2 focuses. There we go.
Yeah.
Hopefully, he's going to catch something in
And
outside
then,
of that.
Is that going to be a
blind spot.
2-turn? Yeah, there we go.
Well.
Palob coming back round behind.
Comfortably in range 1, being auto blast is going to come into account there.
Yeah, I think that looks
Yeah.
that looks range 1. Gets to steal that token as well. It's
Which one?
ooh, do you have range 2 onto Kanan? If you've got that range 2 onto Kanan, I would just always go for those. But
Yeah. Well, Kanan's the one who's going to modify Manaroo's dice down, most likely. Or Palob's, if Palob is in range.
So
If there is the auto blast art, which you can never discount.
is Palob going to focus here?
I think he's deciding whether he
Or
wants.
does he want to cloak?
Mm.
Do a cloak, get an evade.
I think they're discussing what range band you have to be in to affect Kanan Jarrus. He's taking a focus.
Focus, so that cascades out. So if we see a 1 hard here from Guri and then a barrel roll
Other way.
other way, okay.
Okay, so Guri's kind of heading away, which I don't know why. She's still fully shielded
No,
and hold.
A 1 hard round across to the right there, and then a barrel roll back would have got her arc. It would have got her range 1. It would have got her another focus token. No shot coming in from that heavy laser cannon either.
She's trying to get back into it with a barrel. I don't think she's going to get into the range 1 blind spot though. There's someone uses his fingers.
Little bit iffy there. That's going to be
Tight.
That's going to be tight. I don't think we've quite got range 1 there. But if we do, then that's going to deny the heavy laser cannon entirely.
Which is a big deal because that's half your list not shooting.
And then a focus token going across from Leebo onto Palob. So Palob's sitting there fairly happily on a stack of tokens.
I think that's why, because I think he's judged that his range is range 3, so Palob cannot be affected by Kanan, and he can't steal from Kanan anyway. So shame though, because it means the auto blast can come into account, and most likely we're going to see.
Oh, guys, you need to be a bit careful. This is some very tight stuff.
Oh, it's range 1.
It's range 1. There's going to be no shots from Leebo. I don't know. Those ships have been nudged around a bit. I think
that's comfortably range 1. Thing is this him measuring for an attack? Because if it's Jon wanting to put a focus token, it's the missed opportunity at this point. The start of the combat phase, very important. See, this is why the heavy laser cannon is a dangerous play, because yes, 4 dice, but range 1 blind spot, man.
It's much harder to justify on people who aren't dash. Having said that,
Wow. Okay.
3 hits there from Kanan's dorsal turret.
Without any modification needed, that's what he wants. There's one evade there from Manaroo. So Manaroo takes 2, which would remain has shields removed. Oh, spend the focus. That was actually in a focus, so he has spent the focus. Denying attack quality, that's good. That's exactly what David wants.
So Manaroo goes down to 2 shield, goes down no shields remaining, but does at least
have her hull. I still think the Jumpmaster is a very powerful ship to have on the board.
Agreed. The real thing I wish is that the large base rebel ships had been priced equivalently. The Outer Rim Smuggler is the one where you feel the hurt. The World Space Fringer isn't too bad, and I've actually had a decent amount of luck with a World Space Fringer with a heavy laser cannon and a recon specialist with no title. Just treat it as a.
The thing is, David is approaching this completely wrong. He's turning to make sure that he can keep someone close, but he realizes that they want to get close anyway. They're trying to keep close. If he then speeds away, he can definitely catch something with that heavy laser cannon. That's what he needs. He needs to get away because he's in a dangerous position. Leebo takes 1 because of, I believe, Auto Blaster turret. So, there we go. Leebo has taken a hull. And there's a couple of more dice rolls. One's off screen. One was a focus, the other one was a hit and rolling. There's an evade. I think we're fine there. Leebo avoids that damage.
That could have been a much worse turn
Yeah.
for David there. Like it was not a great position to be in, but he's come out of it comparatively unscathed, and I think ahead in terms of the damage that's been dealt. I think Leebo might struggle to make it through the next turn that's coming up though.
Yeah, I think he's on too little health at this point. He's going to lose this engagement if he's not too heavy. I mean, there's already half points taken off Leebo at this point. So in actual fact, David's 100 point there is actually lower. And that's down to, it's 52, so that would be 26. So 26, 74. So that's 74 points. So Jon has got 26 points that he from the engagement there. Ugh. It's not going David's game, really. And that's a shame, because this looks very interesting on paper. And to be fair, the Ghost has tanked a lot of damage. The Ghost has not taken anything, which that is, I think, the more scary thing on the board.
Good point from the chat there. Yes, with Heroes of the Resistance, we are seeing the smuggling compartments coming through that will give the YT 2400 and the YT 1300 both the option of taking an illicit slot, and I think Dash is very much going to like the option of either feedback array or black market slicer tools.
Oh, black market slicer tools.
Black market slicer tools are a really strong option to deal with the thing that Dash wants to be dealing with the least, which is Suntiafel.
Yes.
Because Suntiafel can reliably stick to you and stick into that range one.
The return of Dash. I'll see how it goes. I'm interested. What
but you do have to trade it for the engine upgrade.
That is true.
Dash is very wedded to his engine upgrade.
Yeah. The thing is, what other modification can be as effective on Dash, do you think? Countermeasures, maybe?
Countermeasures is a possibility, but I think it doesn't have the same value that it has in Dingaroo.
No, I do agree with that. It's a possibility, and it's a thing which requires testing, but whether it'll work or not, who knows? So I'm expecting a one bank or a sloop from Guri, or sorry, one turn or a sloop from Guri, a 2-turn from Palob, and here comes an actual 2-turn from Manaroo. I think he started to realise the Leebo is damaged, but the Ghost is not being touched. He needs to start doing damage on the Ghost.
If Jon can get himself into a position where he can get a plasma torpedo shot in on the Ghost, that helps a lot, because that could potentially wipe 4 or 5 of those shields away.
That's the thing. He has to go slow to do that, and the Ghost, if David's smart, he won't go slow.
Yeah.
Or he will go slow at first. Then when he can, he'll pull that 5k out and come around for an attack. With a 4-dice salvo, could just about take it. With a direct hit, could take out Manaroo.
Interesting choice. Barrel roll across here.
Yeah, he's trying to get distance. So when he does turn in next round, he can pop the plasmas. Or to get away from the range band 1. However, I think he's wondering. Oh,
there is some generous play going on from David there. I think he is here. Jon had put a barrel roll template down, but then changed his mind to a target lock, and David seems to have been happy to go along with that.
Nah, David's playing it slow. He's going 1 forward. There goes the Ant-Man, or the Giant Man Ghost. Probably soon going to be pumped in like a pummel to the ground, stomped on like an ant maybe. We'll soon find out, because there's a jump master cut up behind that thing, and that's never a good sign. The thing is, where's Palob going to go? Well, Palob's going to do a 2-turn. That may just catch the back.
Across the rock.
But
it is gaining some distance.
Gaining distance, yeah. It's a dangerous play.
There are times when you just need to do that. You just need to accept the consequences of an obstacle to put yourself in a superior position, and that might get him into a position where he can reliably get those.
Correct. Kanan-Leebo's ability activates. He can choose the crit.
That's something at least. You don't want to see the crit, but at least it can be the better option.
Okay, so what 2 crits does he have? Which one will he pick? We can't see which he has. There's the one he's picked. He's discarding 1. Structural damage. Oh, his agility is now
agility by 1.
That's the worst choice. Then again, What was the other one?
It's true. If the other one had been a direct hit,
It's like, yep, okay, yeah, structural damage it is.
or blinded pilot for that matter. You
Yes.
don't want to lose out on that shot this turn if you can avoid it.
Especially since you now can fire this round.
Does that? I don't think that too hard's going to clear.
Oh, that is a close one. Nah, that's not going to clear.
No.
It's going to bump. 4 would probably give him too much distance from the engagement. At least this range, he can get a range 3 shot on most anything in the game at this point. He can shoot Manaroo, and if him and the Ghost converge fire on Manaroo, it's quite possible that Manaroo could go down this round.
I think as well, Palob's just going to be outside of. Oh, actually, there's no tokens for Palob to steal anyway. So
Yeah, because over a debris field, is he far close enough to Kanan Jarrus to steal? Nope.
Nope.
Good. That's what I like to see. He can affect Manaroo's dice though, should Manaroo want to fire at him. So, could we see Palob make a 1 dice attack at either of his targets? I'd shoot the Ghost, because come on.
So the interesting question is there a minimum limit to how few dice you can roll with Kanan's ability, or can he push the Hawk down to 0?
That is true. I think he can push the Hawk down to 0. But unfortunately, that's a range 1 to 2, so he couldn't do that.
Oh, of course, yes.
So,
just outside of that as well.
Shame. But it's better to fire at. Actually,
I think we are going to see a 1 dice attack here.
Actually, it's the better target, because if you shoot at Kanan will tend to jammer it down, and you can have to spend a focus then. That leaves you vulnerable for a...
So we've got a tricky question here. There is an angle between the ships, and I think they're trying to establish where the closest point is for where that shot is going to come through.
It's wherever... I think it's the nubs, personally. Very smart play there to kind of look... I believe the nub is kind of the closest point. That's what I think. This is a deep discussion.
I think we are probably going to see an unobstructed shot here from Leebo onto Palob. I can understand why they were debating on that one though, because it's not a clear cut.
Yeah, there clearly is no distinction where the closest point is. Leebo firing first, and that's what you want to see. Natural hits and rear predator, 3 hits. That's enough to do damage on Palob. You can push.
Palob needs to pray for some decent dice here, I think.
And that's not what you don't want. That's what Palob's down.
Palob's down. Simultaneous fire, however.
Simultaneous fire. So Palob gets some return fire at least. Palob is not destroyed yet. He is in a state of. It is Schrodinger's Palob. He is destroyed, not destroyed. No, they've declared they've forgotten simultaneous fire. Well,
it happens a lot.
It happens a lot. It's one of those things. The ship's been removed at this point. We've run through to help us several times, but we can't really do much.
No.
Hit crit from the Ghost onto Manaroo, and that's 1 focus turn to 1 evade. Manaroo takes 1. So you're chipping. So David's chipping damage. At this point, I actually think things start to swift back into David's favour. He's removed the annoyance that is Palob.
Jon's mistake here has been he hasn't been able to keep Guri in the engagement.
Yeah.
And if Guri with those 4 attack dice at range 1 had been able to be pumping damage through onto Leebo, I think Leebo would be in a very ropey position right now.
For the record, Eagle. Let's see. Yeah, the Viper has been out way too long in this engagement. I should note there the initiative is on David's side, so there you go. That's the initiative. Da-da-ding. So, with that in mind, how many points was Palob worth? Check on the list. Palob was worth 27 points.
I think what may have happened is that Jon may have just intimidated himself out of doing the S-loop with Guri because he was worried about then having to deal with the consequences of the stress.
Yeah.
And it definitely is a concern when you're running a mind link list, but I think you need to take the chances and get the damage through where you can.
Okay, so it's a very close count at this point because if you look at the points, it's 73 to 74. 15 minutes left on the clock. Oh,
I think we might well see this one go to time.
We could. I think we will.
So I think a lot of it's going to come down to if Jon can get Leebo off the board, I think he's in with a decent shot at taking the match. David needs to start getting his ships into a position where he can do some serious damage to Manaroo.
Yeah.
Because she's still got 4 hull remaining.
If the ghost can take down, to be fair, I would keep Leebo away for now. Have the ghost take on Manaroo, use the primary weapon value. It's got 4 attack dice with modifications. You can possibly wipe Manaroo off the board.
Yeah,
that's what you want to do. Therefore, because especially since the ghost has only taken 1 shield and has the benefit of the center jammer going through.
So maybe go for a 1 bank in.
1 bank in
with the ghost, and then go for the long 5k.
To be fair, actually looking at it, I don't know if he would fit even if he did the 1 bank, because after the 1 bank, he's not got a lot of space left.
That's true. 5K. That's true. That large base is potentially proving a bit of a hindrance.
Yeah.
Now, are we going to see Manaroo go for the target lock and try and get those plasma torpedoes away?
I think that's what we'll see.
It's the call I'd go for.
There we go. There's the plasma torps. Bear in mind that because he doesn't have focus yet, if he does focus, and I think he should, with Guri, he will have to spend the focus to turn the sensor jammer on. Then again, does he have guidance chips? I believe he does have guidance chips. Yes, he does. Yeah. So he can modify with guidance chips. However,
Gonk really hasn't come into play this game.
No. And do you know what? Maybe he should be using that more, really.
He's not had a good opportunity to focus his actions towards Gonk, though. I mean, maybe the first couple of turns he could have banked some shields, but I think...
Flipping a card face down, that was his structural damage.
Yeah.
So he's now knocked back to 2, which is nice. Gives him a bit more survivability. And there's the ghost doing a 2-turn. Okay. Now he could do the... Actually, no, if he did the 5k, he risks the asteroid.
If he can clear the other side of the asteroid, it wouldn't be dreadful.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to... No. That's a very close one. I would have banked and done the 5k then. I think that would be better. And Guri's just way...
Fight too long.
She's way too far out. If she can get a range 3 shot, brilliant, but... That's it. Okay, he's got the focus for the modification, but is that going to be enough?
Is he going to keep the focus as well?
It's a range 2.
Thing, because there is every chance that it might need to be spent on defence against the dorsal turret shot here.
There's...
Particularly if David's going to get double damage there. So...
Oh, we've got a focus. Oh, baiting. He's spending it.
I think it's...
Yep, he's spending it.
It's the right call. There's 0 agility on the ghost. You just need to get 1 point of damage through to get 2 from the plasma torpedoes. And then everything you get beyond that helps. With the guidance chips, you're guaranteed to at least get that 1 damage as well.
I don't know. I think you should have kept that for maximum damage impact on the ghost, I think. And here we go. Plasma torps. Sensor jammer that down to a focus.
Sensor jammer. I'd forgotten about the sensor jammer.
That's the key thing. And I think that's and I think that's a focus off the top there. The glare doesn't show it. It's a hit. So there we go.
So because it's a sensor jammer, you can't
modify it.
You can't modify it other than spending the focus.
Yeah, that's true. So guys, you can't work on it.
Yeah. So 2-3 shields off.
So actually, David did save himself a little bit there, which is quite a good tactical use. I do think the sensor jammer is something that's very much underused as a card. It's very effective.
I think it's got a lot of use. It is quite a big chunk of points. 4 points is a lot to be spending on it. That's and it's in quite a competitive slot as well. Because what it's stopping David from doing is having a fire control system on the ghost.
Also, Kanan did spend 1 of his focus token to minus the dice by 1, and that severely nixed the plasma torps.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Quite a good counter to them, to be fair. Although if you got 3 coming at you, I wouldn't put my money on that one.
No.
But that's not going to help.
Like I would not take David's list against triple jumps.
No, but it's nice if there's only 1 that has the plasma torps doing that damage.
Yeah.
It's a very good counter to that, or semi-counter. Right. Yes. Now Leebo is the one kind of out in the zone. You know.
So Jon's potentially in a position to capitalise on this a little bit now. If he can get Guri forwards quickly, get Guri in a position to start taking some shots onto the ghost. What card was that? Oh, was that Gonk?
Yep, Gonk has now got a shield on it.
I think that's going to be a little bit too little, too late there. But
Yeah, I think it is. At this point, I think David is trying to keep Leebo alive more than anything. Here's a 1-turn. It's the wrong direction. He wants to turn towards the ghost. People are going to be heading towards the ghost. He wants to catch the ghost there. Guri's not going to disengage. She's not going to turn away and go for Leebo. She's going to go for the ghost. And
so what are we thinking? A fall forward from Guri at this point?
yeah, with a boost, I think. Get her as close so you can start plinking damage away. Oh, it's a 3. I think there's no... Is there a 4 on that? I'm sure there's a 4 on that dial. There's a 4.
You probably want to go for the focus here, John. Make sure you've got that modification on both your ships.
Yeah, you want modification, but thing is, what did he take with? Oh, he got Gonk. So yeah, he's only got focus. He needs get the focus, get both across there.
That's why I think the Gonk was a bad call there. If
Yeah.
he focused with Manaroo, there would already be a focus on Guri. Guri would be in a position to then.
It doesn't synergize very well with the list. Gonk.
No.
It's good for survivability, but it doesn't synergize with it. Okay, here we go. Hitting a crit from the Ghost's dorsal turret.
David's had some solid luck with his red dice here.
But I believe that's 2 of 8 right there.
Ah, okay. So.
Oh well. Nothing. There's no way that's going to attack. Yeah.
There we go.
There you go. Range 3. Well, the Ghost gets a dice, and unfortunately, at range 3 means you can't modify. That's 2 hits, I think.
Sensor jam
down. Spend the focus.
Spend the focus to turn it back up.
You are burning the focus though, which is something which is worthwhile. And there's a blank, so that's 2, I believe.
So I think that's Kanan's shields gone at that point.
Yeah, Kanan has lost all his shields. Hey, Audio Weasel! Welcome back. You're regular on the stream, and there's a crit roll there. That's for the for the Kanan Jarrah Sensor Jam and spend the focus anyway. Doom. So there's a hit onto Kanan. So yeah, this has been a very back and forth match. Now we're on the precipice here. A couple more hits, and Kanan will be worth half value, meaning David has to kill Manaroo or Guri, and Manaroo is the contender. So.
Yeah. With only 7 minutes as well, we're only looking at maybe 2 more turns.
Could he do a 5k here and just completely ignore the asteroid? Just say, don't worry about it, just go for it.
I think it's a risk, but I think it's probably one that's worth taking because you bring that 4 dice gun into play, and he needs that to do some real damage.
He does.
Because I think it's going to be difficult for Leebo to get a shot here. And even if Leebo does, it's likely to be range 3 obstructed onto Guri. And I don't think that's going to do much.
Yeah, we've had some good matches today, though, haven't we?
We have. They've all been reasonably close. We've Stephen got a bit unlucky against Sam, but
yes.
there was still some interesting stuff to watch there.
Naturally, Audio Weasel, after the stream, though, this will be uploaded to YouTube sometime on Monday, and you can also watch us back on Twitch or our Facebook page. So yeah, woo.
The raw and edited form of Twitch.
Yeah, people say, why does it look so shoddy, this overlay? It's because it's done live.
To be fair, I think the overlay that Athena Games has got going on here is in like the real kind of like high ranks of what I've seen online. So
thank you, it's very kind of you. I try my best.
What are we doing here? There's some.
It's because they're bumping. The actual models are bumping, so they're wondering. Yeah.
The ghost is a big brick of a ship.
Yes, it is. It very much overhangs the base. I mean, we thought the Decimator was big when that was introduced, and here we is that a 4? Don't do a 4 forward, do a 4K.
We don't seem to have had an action from Manaroo there.
He bumped. No, he didn't bump though, did he?
No.
That's true. It is a missed opportunity though at this stage. David, you should have done the K. I don't know why you didn't, and that would have brought. I mean, yes, you're showing your base a bit more 1 forward, but you're still space.
Yeah, he's just running Leebo. I think at this point he doesn't want to take the chance of Leebo going out.
That's really taking... You got
I
5
think,
minutes on the clock.
That's the thing. I think with the amount of time on the round, David could be costing himself the game here.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. A barrel roll to bring
That helps.
Leebo back in.
That barrel roll should mean that there is a shot onto Guri. I don't think that shot onto Guri is going to mean much because I think it's likely to be
evaded. Yeah, with auto
it's going to be
thrusters as
obstructed.
well.
There's sensor jammer in there. There's auto thrusters in there, and that sensor jammer is going to be coming into maximum effect.
Thing is, Guri could also barrel roll as well. That's the thing. I don't think there's actually range between Manaroo and Kanan, which is actually smart on Jon's side because he wants to keep Manaroo alive. They're both playing the game of we want to keep our ships that are low alive and try and plink enough on the other opponent down. Range 2. Okay, so Kanan cannot modify, but there is a range 3 shot.
And this is why I'm slightly surprised that we didn't see Jon go for the barrel roll across to the right.
Yeah.
Because Guri is not in a strong position here. That obstacle is definitely going to limit her options in terms of her approach onto the ghost.
He's got Predator, don't forget. So that's 3 hits.
That's 3 hits.
Not enough to kill, but it's do some damage. Strip the token, maybe.
There is a focus token there. There are auto thrusters there. There is a sensor jammer there that seems to be being forgotten. No, there we go.
There we go. 2 can play that game, David. Oh.
Yeah, that's nothing going through there.
That's the thing. Guri's probably going to do some damage to the ghost now, and the ghost can't do anything about it, and then it's going to be
3, 4,
play
5,
the runaway
6,
game.
7. If there's a point of damage goes through there, that's the ghost down to half.
Sensor jammer, spend the focus, turn it back. 2 hits, evade, nothing.
And that's half points.
I'm very sorry, David, but you messed up. You
I think that and a crit going through there. I didn't quite catch what it was.
Nor did I. Unfortunately, I think David made a big mistake in trying to not making that K-turn.
It's a fair point, Audio Weasel. Every time I've used it, I've forgotten it. If I'm completely frank,
there is a range 3 shot. Unfortunately, no, the Dorsal turret can't reach range 3. This is very smart on the account of Manaroo, and in fact, it's better for Jon because it means Kanan can't modify. Ouch. Sensor jammer. Spend the focus anyway.
Yeah.
2
more damage. I think this one's going to go to Jon. We've got 2 minutes 30 on the round. We're not going to get through another round after this one.
Had he done the 5k, he would have been out of range of Manaroo. He may have been out of range of
another crit damage cockpit there, so that's Kanan down to pilot skill 0.
He may have been out of range of Guri. He could have completely turned it around with a 4 dice shot on Guri and maybe killed her, or even Manaroo of the next round. But unfortunately, he wasn't thinking ahead. He was trying to get away. He wasn't thinking, if you're going to go over an asteroid, go for the positional advantage, which is the K-turn. It's 5k. It's such a good maneuver. And you've got plenty of space there to not be off the board. Yes, it would be close, but you've still got quite a base width there, I think, off.
Admittedly, I'm talking about flying the Ghost from the perspective of someone who's normally flying Chopper or Lothal Rebel with Hera, fire control system, auto blaster turret. So it's very much about crashing around the place, doing damage to things. And I think, reasonably enough, David is viewing it much more as a support ship.
Yeah, that's not how you should do it, because you're paying for a 4 dice primary. Yes, you've got a dorsal turret which can do 2 dice at range 1 to 2 and 3 at range 1. If you can go get a 4 dice attack, take the stress. If you're going to be out of range, you can clear it next turn and easily.
So while we're on the topic of 4 dice support ships, your thoughts on the Epsilon shuttle?
Coordinate's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
I
am thinking that we may well see it as the new Palpmobile option, because it opens up a different set of lists. It changes the shuttle's role from being just purely a support ship you keep parked in the corner
into an assault kind of shuttle.
Yeah. And I think that's going to be very interesting to see.
2 turns not going to get you out of Guri. Actually, Guri may actually have to turn away if she wants to actually keep in the engagement, because she's heading towards an asteroid by that arc.
If Jon's aware of how little time there is on the clock, he's just going to position Manaroo to be as safe as possible and then token up.
He's engaging Chopper. He's taking a damage to actually keep on doing his actions. I don't think that's a good plan. I think this late in the game was a bit too little too late to be taking damage to do actions. You're probably out of range anyway.
That 4 hull remaining on Kanan. It's not quite into the danger zone, but it's getting really close.
Yeah, and here's this. It's going to be a barrel roll to give him a bit more forward momentum, maybe even catch just a range 3 shot on the Ghost. I still say that 5k.
Oh, I don't know why the barrel roll in is happening here. This doesn't
Yeah.
seem like a good plan.
No, nor me.
You really don't want to get yourself at range 2 there either, because if you suddenly got shots coming in,
You've already declared that side. You have to go there, John. David's being very, very kind. I mean, I know it's fly casual, but there becomes a point when that's, I think, the 3rd time we've seen a change of barrel roll this game. There should have been much more pull up on that, and it seems to be that David is sticking to his gun, saying, "No, you made the option there." And
I've been forgiving to people on that one before, but if it's happening multiple times over the course of a game, it does just become a point where you want to go from being forgiving of the mistake to. I think that move has probably just put Jon in some serious danger of losing the game, though. If Leebo's got that heavy laser cannon shot, and I think Leebo does, that's unmodified defense dice on Manaroo and focus modified dice on Leebo. This could pull it back. And I think that's going to be a bump across that rock there.
Losing
as well.
the action and potentially taking damage. Not that's going to.
So no focus for Guri either.
No damage though. It's going to come down to pure.
I think Jon's mistake here may have.
Don't go for Guri. Go for Manaroo. You're not going to kill Guri. You could kill Manaroo. God, what are you doing, you fool?
But having said that, it's very easy for us sat here in the booth to say all these
hindsight
things.
is 2020, as they say. There's 4. Look, that would have almost killed Manaroo. Come on.
These are unmodified dice, however, that Guri is rolling, so it's.
Yeah, but he can't kill Guri unless he were to shoot at her auto thrusters.
So that's
there's 2 damage, which
2 damage. Okay.
2 damage. What's that going to achieve? Come on, look
and
at
then
that.
the dorsal turret probably isn't going to kill, and it's going.
It's going to do 2 damage. It's through an asteroid. It's not going to do anything. It was better if he would have shot for Manaroo. He could have that could have killed Manaroo.
Yeah.
Yeah. That has cost David the game right there and then. That one mistake, right there.
But it's very easy for us to say that, and it may be that they don't.
2 hits, Central Jammer down. Which that's 1 on the Ghost. At range 3, still takes the 1, and the Ghost is nearly dead.
Was that on to?
That was onto Kanan Jarrus. So Kanan has indeed, and here comes a shot from. That's Guri. Okay, then this one's from Manaroo, it seems. I still think, David, what were you doing?
It may be that the players don't know that we're approaching time on the round. However.
Maybe I misappropriated the time, but let's call it right there.
Okay.
That's game, because that was the last round, I guess.
I think that's gone to Jon.
That's gone to Jon.
It's half point on both ships, so that's approximately 50-ish points. 40 something, 50, maybe 50 if he's.
Right, I'm gonna go and check up on them, make sure everything's
Absolutely.
alright, and check on the rounds. I'll be right back, everyone. I'll leave you in Robin's hands.
Some
Why don't you
interesting.
do a recap for what we've had so far in the day?
Absolutely, actually, yes. Do we have our list?
Just here, actually, isn't there? Or there to the right
I will.
as well.
I will have a quick gander through.
Gander, see what there is.
So, we've just seen the Guri Palob Manaroo matchup versus David's Kanan Jarrus and Leebo. Down to the wire there. Very much, I think, a game that was decided by time being called when it was. I think David might have had a chance to pull that one back. Manaroo was in a very vulnerable position by the end of the game, and I think that heavy laser cannon shot from Leebo going on to Guri maybe wasn't the best choice of target. Prior to that, we had Stephen Sage versus Sam, whose surname I've temporarily forgotten. Stephen flying triple Protectorate Starfighters. So Fenrir, Old Tarok, Cad Solus versus Sam's Ryad, Inquisitor. Oh no, it's just people moving ships around. Nothing else is happening. Of course, we come to the end of the round. So Ryad, Inquisitor, and I'm guessing what the additional ship was there. Bear with me one moment while I just have a quick browse through all this and see what I can find. If we're doing our maths correctly, Bernal humans, we had a victory for Jon there because both Kanan and Leebo are down to half points. Though we've got half points on Manaroo. It's difficult to call actually. Bear with me one moment, and I will just do the calculations on that. I'd forgotten about the half points on Manaroo, which may have been influencing some of the things we were saying there in incorrect fashion. But I think Guri is quite a sizable bank of points. So we've got 38 points worth of Guri, 35 points for Manaroo. I think if I'm doing the maths correctly here, very narrow advantage to Jon, but I think there is not much in it. I am, however, going to get out a calculator and run the numbers. So 27 points of Palob destroyed plus David was on 45 points by the end of that game. So 58 points, I think, to David, 50 points to Jon. So we're talking 2 or 3 points in it, but a very narrow victory to Jon there. That's a good point, Eaglets. Getting the cost of the ships up would be quite a handy thing. I'll mention that to Elliot and see if there's anything we can do on that front as a potential future development. I think Audio Weasel actually we've got an Ant-Man Giant Man pairing there, in that David's attack shuttle is the Ant-Man, and we've got the Giant Man iteration in the VCX. And just bear with me, I'm going to see if I can find our lists for the first round and what we had in play there. But yes, as Elliot said, it's been a good day of gaming so far, and interesting to be this side of the screen as well. I'm normally on the playing floor myself, but Elliot was looking for a volunteer for the commentary, and having already picked up all of the prizes from this kit, I thought it would be a bit churlish of me not to step up to the plate on that one.
So before the shop closes, I decided that I would finally invest, since I've been paid, in my
Excellent.
Wave 9 stuff.
Tremendous, that's what we want.
Woo! Woo! I did buy a little something else as well, which is just this. Prepare for the booing. Just one of these.
the other game.
the other game. The Enterprise B.
I can't actually find the list for the first round, so I am temporarily unable to remember what they were.
Oh, first round. I'm sure it'll come to me. In fact, let me quickly check my records here. I keep records, aka the previous, because Facebook has a maximum time of when we can stream, the previous Facebook log. So, Athena Games was live. But the previous one was very good with the Inquisitor and the Protectorates, which that went completely the way I wasn't expecting. Most certainly, I was expecting it to go the other direction. I
think again, it's very telling that the Protectorates are very reliant on the opening exchange going well. And if you go a little bit off course there, it can cost you heavily.
Yeah.
Very close game, that last one as well.
That was a close game.
What was it? 1, 2, 3 points.
A couple of points, and that's
not,
it. Yeah,
not much at all.
Not much. It was.
One of the interesting things about that as well is if you're there playing the game, not as a player, not keeping a tight eye on the clock, you're not necessarily running 100% accurate points costs in your mind as well. It can be very difficult to keep a track of who's actually winning under those circumstances.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I agree.
So that might have been influencing some of David's decisions there. That heavy laser cannon shot, he might have thought he needed to take that bigger points chunk of Guri off the board to guarantee himself being in a good position.
That was it. It was Luke Johnson's Wedge, Aaron, Dagger, and Outer Smuggler list, which was all blank with no upgrades, versus Duncan Keogh's Taliban Cobra and Triple Black Sun Soldier list with the Deadman switches.
That was actually quite a close run game. After the initial exchange, making it seem very much like it was going to go all in Duncan's favour, Luke really managed to pull it back there, get some points, get some stuff off the board. So, no, very, very good match.
Good. Of course, the Nova Open in the States, that's kind of a big thing that's happening these days. I mean, we've all got our own little opening events going on. I mean, I know that we're planning because unfortunately Athena did not get regionals this year, which is unfortunate. We're planning to do our own event, which is the Olympus Open.
I'm very excited about that.
Yes, we were discussing the legality of custom alt art cards and such. And I think the idea is, as long as you're not actively selling the cards, by payment, as long as they're participation cards, they're okay. I have emailed Fantasy Flight Games for a question about it, just so to kind of clear the air, and if they're okay with it. And if I have to go to Lucasfilm, I'll go to Lucasfilm. But we want to have an official kind of. I mean,
we've seen events with art cards produced, like the Steel Open. I know has had quite a lot of the Paul LaRue cards, I think, done for it.
There was a lovely one in, I believe, the Netherlands regions where they had 3. They had Hal Runner for the Imperials, Miranda Doney for the Rebels, and I think it was Kath Scarlet for the Scum. Oh, and they were glorious. They were done in the style of the new full art ones, where had the very small stat line, same as the T-70 pilot and the Zeta, I believe, Zeta Squadron. Yeah, they looked glorious. They went to about. I did bid on one on eBay. I bid on all 3 of them for about 30 quid each. Didn't win them, so obviously they went for much more than that. But wow, they looked very nice.
Yeah. No, I remember seeing that set and being very, very tempted. But I've imposed a policy on myself of only for X-Wing only having the alt arts that I actually win.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's going to be a very expensive rabbit hole that I start going down.
I'm already down that rabbit hole. I'm a collector at heart, and I like just cool alt art cards. Yeah. And I was a bit disappointed when I didn't win those on eBay, to be fair, because I did really like, especially the Miranda Doney. The Miranda Doney is actually going to be a gift for someone. But it is what it is. Still. If I ever see them come up on eBay again, I most certainly will buy the Hal Runner, the Randadoni, and this Kath Scarlet. I like Paul LaRue's art cards. I'm not a fan of their style. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that style. Not to say the artwork is bad. It's just not what I would go for. But they're still nice, and I like how he's done some of the cards where they create a larger diorama, like the Contractor Scouts.
Yeah,
that I think was a very clever use of the art.
Because is it the Dengar Manaroo ones that slot.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
such a nice thing.
and the decimator ones, they all go together to form the all 4 decimators attacking like a corvette.
Oh, fantastic.
Which that was a special commission, but they look incredible. Yes, I'm going to quickly go and find out when the next round's happening, because they must be happening soon. Seeing if we get pairings, maybe even select the list that's next, because I know exactly who we're going to have on the stream.
Ah, fantastic.
Maybe as you're waiting, quickly go through the list that we have as the viewer special.
The viewer special. Fantastic. So